I'm Asim Parikh. I'm the Vice President of Solutions and Partnerships at ONF, and I'm delighted to see a lot of the partners and the community here. What I'm going to talk about, and before I get to the topic, the agenda talked about industry adoption and use cases. I thought it was best to have our partners come and talk about the industry adoption, and we also have a session this afternoon about industry adoption. So from the registration, we could see that there was a kind of a pretty good split between engineering types and management / business development / product management types. So I hope that we started out by giving you kind of a top-down view, kind of a look at the forest before we start getting into the trees. And you will have plenty of chances to, over the next 2 days, to get into the trees and the weeds if you wanted to, okay? But the whole idea of doing this in the morning, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, give us feedback. If you didn't like it, please give us feedback as well, okay? So here I am. We're going to talk about use case steering. And obviously, you know what ONF's mission is. Most of you are part of it. But we are a nonprofit operator-led organization which is doing applied research. We are not an academic environment where we are doing things for the sake of science. We are doing it for a particular application. And that is to drive this transformation of network infrastructure in carrier business models. Okay? And then how do we do that? Guru talked about the approach of doing that, obviously using white boxes, network disaggregation, open source. But the goal is to build really solutions. If you want to drive transformation, you have to solve a problem, which is either cost, either new services, either agility of network delivery, and that is the solution. But what comes before a solution? That is the use case. What is the problem we are trying to solve is what we are focused on in use case steering. And as you can tell from our board and from our constitution, we have 8 top-tier service providers at the highest level, what we call the partner level, and about 14 at the next tier. So there are about 20-odd service providers all trying to help kind of guide the way of this network transformation. It's difficult, even in the normal circumstance, to have 21 people agree to the same thing. So we had to have a way of formalizing the way of deciding how to prioritize a particular use case. And that's what the genesis of this is. So as Guru explained, there is this virtuous cycle which we are trying to build. We build platforms that enables new solutions and use cases. And you've seen a bunch of them being talked about earlier. And that informs and enriches the platform, and that cycle continues, right? And that is the cycle we really want to make sure, and what we are going to focus on is we'll hear a lot about the platforms today afternoon and tomorrow and day after. We are going to focus on how do you bring use cases to ONF. So use cases, we have been doing it in an ad hoc manner. Tom mentioned kind of the history of CORD being a use case of ONOS, and now it become a project by itself. In this July timeframe, the ONF board decided to make it a lot more formal. And that's where the use case steering became kind of an objective, which we have formed, and I'll talk a little more about it. That is where the use cases typically come in, from the community, from individuals, from operators, from vendors who think that this is a cool thing to go and productize, or at least to build a POC around. Okay, and then that can inform, as Guru was mentioning, there's a concept of brigades. We'll talk a lot more about it. That can inform brigades to be formed. And hopefully out of that comes the adoption, which is really the metric we are measuring ourselves with. This technology, this platform, these solutions have to be adopted by the industry for ONF to really fulfill its mission. And that is really the end goal. So how do we do this? So all of you know and are very familiar with the TST, the technical steering team, which is where ONOS and CORD, a lot of the innovation has come to bear. The ONF board and collaborators obviously appoint the TST chairs, and then you contribute as the community, the TST thing. We also have created a new thing, as I was mentioning, called the Use Case Steering Team. The Use Case Steering Team, again, is operator-led, because obviously the operators have to agree that these are use cases which are interesting for them to use, and hence for ONF to participate in. But we also wanted to bring in a kind of a small section of the vendor community to bring in the perspective of, yes, these are use cases, but is there business behind it? How can I make money? So that's why we kind of included a few people from the vendor community. So those use cases are then measured and then approved by the use case steering team, put into the public forum, and then the community goes and says, yes, this seems to be a way of getting my technology, my innovation adopted into the service provider community. Let me join a brigade, or let me create a brigade around it, right? So that's how the brigades come to bear. I'm sorry, if I look back, it gets louder, but okay. And the key thing for brigades, which we realized from the past experiences, is having a crisp product owner for a brigade was important, because that kind of serves as the product management function, or a product owner in the agile sense, to bring the requirements, break kind of issues of what is more important, what is above the line, what is the MVP, all those questions. So that product ownership also will come out of the UCSD. So I've talked to most of these things, and this is available on our website, so I'm not going to walk through it, and I know it's very difficult to read the bottom half from the back. But it is basically, the goal is for us to identify, kind of create a forum for new use cases to be submitted, and then prioritize them for ONF to go and build. Okay, so this is the role, is to, the byline at the bottom says, and I'm going to read it out, UCSC's role is to help ONF efficiently fulfill its mission to revolutionize this industry through this transformation. Okay, so how are we composed? We are composed of, again, it's a very service provider heavy organization or a group. All the 8 partner level operators have a representation on it. Plus we have 6 elected people, 3 from the second tier innovator part level members who are operators, and 3 from the vendor community. And then the board appoints up to 3 people from anywhere they want to the UCSD, and they happen to appoint me as the first one. So these are the UCSD members. If the lights can be turned on, and if the UCSD members are here, please stand up, because I'm going to give you a job to do. So Tom, I can see you there. Stand up. Who else is here? I can't see anyone. Okay, that's Prakash at the back. So these are the elected members: China Mobile, Microsoft, Telefonica, Ciena, NEC, and Redisys. I see Prakash standing up. Who else can I see standing up? There you go, Patrick. You're representing Telefonica. Alfonso. Okay, so these are the people who are on the UCSD. If you want to influence and kind of lobby for your favorite use case to be adopted by ONF, talk to me, talk to any one of these people, or obviously I'll tell you how to do it through an email exchange. So what is a good use case? Thank you very much thanks for standing up. What is a good use case? And this was one of the first things we did as a UCSD, kind of in this new form, in a formalized manner. So how do we evaluate a new use case, right? And this was the characteristics we need to, maybe we're not gone very formal, we are not put any weights on this, but the idea is very simple. Is there a real impact to the industry by doing what is being suggested? Is there public support? Obviously, does someone want this? Or is it a good science experiment? The science experiments don't pass muster to the UCSD. Okay, there are other forums to do that. Are there plans by operators to trial or deploy that? That would get a lot more weightage, because if this is something which is going to be trialed and deployed, it is a lot more interesting than just someone saying, I'm interested. And then, obviously, the what and the why of the use case, and whether there is the right ecosystem available to deliver this from the ONF community, right? But those are the kind of the measures on which a use case is going to be judged as objectively as possible. And I see Sandhya walking in, another UCSD member. Hi, Sandhya. There she is from Verizon. Okay, so what do we deliver? So one thing is we'll publish everything which is submitted to us to let the community know that these are interesting things which people have proposed. And that would be done on our wiki page. Then for the next process, we are still formulating the exact process of once you prioritize and we discuss it in this group of 14 or 15 people and say, this looks interesting, we should do this, there will be a call to action to the community. And right now, I'm loosely calling it a request for collaboration, RFC. Get it? Request for collaboration. We'll publish this on our website and then really ask with the product owner kind of identified, hopefully, and then ask the community to create the brigade through the TSTs. So the TSTs will now hear about it, get someone to champion it from a technical perspective, and then either undertake that role as part of the current TST, current brigade, or create a new brigade. Make sense? So this is what our goals are, and hopefully 2018 is when really we'll get going on this. We just had 1 or 2 meetings up till now. We are going to have 1 more meeting before the end of the year, and then we'll break. So I talked about this to resources. On the web, we are on the ONF web page under UCST. You'll identify all the people there who are members, so you know who we are. But most of the work will happen through the wiki. So the wiki is the place to go, the open networking wiki and the UCST page. Okay, and it's updated. I updated it last night with whatever we have. So this is the call to action to everyone who has a smart idea, and I know everyone here might have a smart idea, must have a smart idea. So there's a use case template, so that we have a normalized way of looking at use cases. We have created a template of what a new use case should look like. Download the template from the wiki, and then provide the details, which are, fill out basically the template with as much detail as possible. Again, remembering the criteria on which we are going to judge it by. So the more information you have which meets those criteria, the higher likelihood that this will get through to the next level and get staffed. Okay, and then there is a new email I'm going to create called newusecase@opennetworking.org. That's the email you can send it to. It'll go to Yuli, who is my co-chair on UCST, and I, and then we will present it in front of the UCST on your behalf. Once there is agreement that this makes sense, we would invite the submitters, 1 or more people, to present to the UCST in the next monthly meeting. Okay, so the UCST meeting by itself is not open to make it easy to kind of have a working group, but then we'll invite special groups who have new ideas to present to it. All that makes sense? All right, but don't forget that UCSC started just recently. There are lots of use cases which are already going on, and your inputs and your participation to that is very, very welcome. Also, the second point is we are talking at the Chord build, but UCST encompasses all ONF platforms, so ONOS, Chord, Trellis, so on and so forth. So please, this is not restricted to Chord only. Over the last 4 or 5 years since ONOS has been around, we have done lots of POCs and implemented lots of use cases, right? And Chord being the big, biggest of them all. There's work which some of these work has been done, and they are now in a dormant state, but there are current use cases on the ONOS side which we are actively working on, and there are brigades which are working on it and people talking about it. So if there is interest, here is the place where you can contribute, and if there is, if you want this to be prioritized, also give us feedback through the same mailing system. On the Chord side, which is obviously what we'll be talking about for the next 2 days, each of these are now become kind of meta level use cases, and in each of these R Chord, M Chord, E Chord, as Guru showed in the morning, there are multiple smaller use cases about XRAN, about slicing, about OLT. So there are lots of new things which are happening here, and they are ongoing. So none of this is going to stop just because we have the UCST by any means, but any new things which the community will bring forward will go through the UCST process of getting into the ONF pipeline. Okay, I'm going to end early so that we can all get to dinner, lunch, or. But the idea is, if you have any use cases and you think of new ideas through hallway discussions, please use this email address, newusecases@opennetworking.org. Wait till the end of the code build so that this is operational. Okay? Otherwise, you can write to me. Thank you very much.